Welcome back. This is the second lesson recording for IM1, November 20th, 2020. So where we left off, we were contrasting mixed fractions and improper fractions, and we said that mixed fractions always have a whole part and also the fraction part, and that is the reason it's called mixed fraction because it's a mixture of whole number and fractions, and it is often used to represent final answer. So in this case, we have the whole part tells us that we have two whole pizzas and we have another pizza that's cut into five parts, but out of those we have three. One, two, three. So we have those three pizzas. So we have two whole and 3/5 of pizza. What about improper fractions? Well, improper fractions are where numerator, that's the top number, is greater than the denominator. The top number is bigger than the denominator, so it is top heavy because it's a bigger number on the top. And it's used in calculation. So whenever you're doing calculation, you generally want to be using improper fractions, especially when you're multiplying, you need to be using improper fraction. Okay, so let's evaluate how big this number is. Well, this is telling us a pizza is divided up into five parts. And of that, we have 13 parts. That means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a whole pizza. And we have another pizza that's divided up into five parts. And we had five pieces here, another five pieces here. So that means we also still need another pizza that's divided up into five pieces. And of that, we need three more pieces, 1, 2, 3. That means we have two whole and 1/3 of a pizza. Notice that we're talking about the same amount of pizza. So in this case, we say because they really represent same number, they're equivalent fractions. So that's what we call equivalent fractions. Okay, now let's talk about converting mixed fraction. Here's a mixed fraction into improper fraction. When we're doing calculation, we want to use improper fraction. So you need to be able to freely go between mixed fraction and improper fraction. I'm going to teach you a strategy called mad face strategy. This is where M stands for multiply, A stands for add, D stands for denominator that stays the same. So that means what you're starting off with is you are starting off by multiplying these two numbers. You're multiplying this number with 5. 2 times 5. Okay, so, and you're going from here to there. So you're starting by 2 times 5. You're multiplying. Okay, and then 2 times 5, and then you are adding. So you multiply first and then you add, but denominator stays the same. That means 2 times 5. We're doing 2 multiplied by 5. See, that's the multiply sign. And then to that, you're going to add 3 to it, plus 3. And the denominator stays the same. Denominator is the 5. So 2 times 5, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. Divide by 5. So we've turned it into an improper fraction where it is top heavy. This is exactly the previous example. Why it is called mad face is if you sort of tilt your head to the side, you can see the two eyes and the frowny face, and it stands for the MAD for mad. All right, so let's just do some more practice so that you can get more, it can sink in. All right, so that means we are multiplying the whole with the denominator. So 5 times 8, that's where we are multiplying. And then to 5 times 8, then to that we are adding. So that becomes 5 times 8 and 5 times 8 first, and to that we're adding 7. So, and denominator stays the same. So 5 times 8 is 40, plus 7 is 47 over 8. Okay, I want you to pause the video and try to do these 3 problems yourself. Okay, the answers are 3, 2, 1. Okay, so again, you're going from bottom to the top by doing multiplying and adding first, and that's my math phase. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 over the denominator stays the same, so it is 9 over 2. What about this? Again, we're going from bottom to the tops by multiplying and adding. So it's a mad multiply, add, and denominator stays the same. So that's 1 times 5, which is 5, plus 2 over denominator stays the same. So that's 7 over 5. 9 times 4 plus 3. So the end denominator stays the same. So the final answer is 9 times 4 is 36 plus 3 is 39 over 4. Okay, now let's try doing the opposite direction. How about converting improper fraction, that's the top heavy, into mixed fraction? Okay, so to do that, I need you to recognize this fraction line as the same thing as division. This fraction line here is same thing as division. That means this is 11 over 4 is same as 11 divided by 4. Okay, now how do I do division? Well, you do the long division like this, right? Do you remember? What goes in here inside is the number that we're trying to divide, and what goes out here is the number that you're dividing by. So here you're asking yourself, how many times does 4 go into 11? Oh, first one, note none. How many times does 4 go into 11? It goes into 11 3 whole times. Oh, no, it goes in twice because 2 times 3 is 12, so that's bigger. So 4 times 2 is 8. And then you subtract 11 minus 8 is 3. So that's what you did if you remember in 4th grade. Okay, so then what is your answer? This is this is, you have 2 whole plus a remainder of 3. Okay, so that means 4 goes into 11 2 whole times. So this is where it becomes, this 2 whole tells me goes right here as the whole number, and the remainder is what is left over, and this number 4 is the denominator. So remainder goes here and the denominator goes here. Okay, so you're basically dividing. So you're basically looking to see how many times does 4 go into 11 times. Okay, so it goes in there 2 whole times, but then we have 2 times 4 is 8, so we still have 3 left over. So that's the leftovers, that's 3 over 4. So let's keep doing some practice. Okay, so how many times does 5 go into 26? Well, I know that 5 times 5 is 25. And if I subtract 25 from 26, I still have 1 left. So I can put 5 whole because 5 times 5 is 25. And we still have 1 remaining. So that's going to be over 5. How many times does 3 go into 8? I know that 3 times 2, so 2 whole is 6. So if I subtract 8 minus 6 is 2 remaining over 3. And please pause the video and see if you can do the rest. Okay? All right, so now how about this? How many times does 2 go into 9? Goes into 9 4 whole times. 4 times 2 times 4 is 8. So if I subtract 8 from 9, 9 minus 8 is 1. So we have 1 left over. So that's 4.5. And this you are looking for how many times does 5 go into 18? 3 whole times because 5 times 3 is 15. And if I subtract 15 from 18, 18 minus 15 is 3 is remaining out of the 5. The denominator stays the same. Okay, now let's talk about multiplying fractions. Well, multiplying is probably the easiest of all the fraction operations because you basically all you need to do is multiply across the top and across the bottom. That means you just multiply top and bottom with bottom. So here you're going to multiply top with top and bottom with bottom. So 1 times 2 is just 2. 3 times 5 is 15. So the final answer is 2 over 15. So you just multiply across top with top and bottom with bottom. Okay. Now when it comes to mixed fraction, remember we said that mixed fractions are helpful when you're giving final answers. However, when you're trying to do calculations, you need to convert the mixed fractions to improper fraction first. I hope you remember how to do that. And then you multiply top with top and bottom with bottom. So please pause the video and see if you can do the next 3 problems. The answers are in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. So again, multiplying top with top and bottom with bottom. So 1 times 2 is, oh, we have the same problem. Okay, for the sake of it, let's change this to negative 7 and 2. And let's change this to 8 and 5. Let's leave it as that. Okay, so now top with top. That means negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. And bottom with bottom, 8 times 5 is 40. Okay, now there's such a thing called something that is called simplifying the fraction. Okay, so when you have your answer, you need to be always looking to see, can I simplify this further? Is there a number I can divide both top and bottom by? When the numbers are both even, that means at the very least, we can divide both top and bottom by 2. So then it becomes negative 7 over 20. And that's my final answer. Okay, for C, you're multiplying half with 3. Now, what is 3 in fraction? 3 is same as 3 over 1. So that means now we're multiplying 3 with 1. So that's 3 times 1 is 3. And 2 times 1 is 2. So 3 over 2. Now, this is my final answer. So I do want to turn that into improper fraction. How many times does 2 go into 3? Once. So that's 1 whole. And then after 1 times 2 is 2. After I take away 2, how many am I left with? 3 minus 2 is 1. So remainder is 1 over 2. Again, this, I need to turn that into improper fraction first using the MAD method. So I am going to multiply 7 times 1. That's 7 plus 3 is 10. So the first fraction becomes 10 over 7 multiplied by 1 over 3. But now I multiply top with top and bottom with bottom. 10 times 1 is 10. 7 times 3 is 21. Now I look to see if I can simplify it anymore. There are no numbers that is divisible by both 10 and 21. Okay, how about dividing fractions? Well, when you're dividing fractions, you need to flip the second fraction and change the divide sign to multiply. So in this case, let's try something that we already know. Okay, so 10 divided by 2, I think everybody knows that that is 5 because 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, but let's keep that in mind, but let's use this method. Here it says 10 divided by 2. What is 10? 10 is in fraction is 10, same as 10 over 1, and 2 is same as 2 over 1. So this means this is same as 10 over 1, and you flip the second fraction, so that becomes 1 over 2, and then change the divide sign to multiply, and then multiply top with top and bottom with bottom, so that becomes 10 over 2, which is same as 5.